Why can't Windblade just get a good toy? It's Legacy's Cyberverse Windblade. But first, your likes! Please give and maybe subscribe. My god, I hate this thing. How is it so hard to get Windblade right? I don't understand. Every figure she gets is some horribly flawed mess, and this is no exception. You have the original that feels like it's made out of toothpicks and chewing gum and has a face that looks like a porcelain mask of a deep old one who's trying to steal your soul. You have the Titan's Return, which was a headmaster and apparently subpar for one of those. Disgusting. Still wish I had one. Then there's the RID 2015 one that's a zero-effort piece of crap like the rest of the line. Then there's the Cyberverse one, which is an even less effort turd made for babies that can only half transform, because for some godforsaken reason, that was the gimmick of that line. Does literally anyone want to explain that to me? Then there's a model kit that can't transform, and now there's this sin against all that is holy inflicted upon us. And the thing is, it's not really that much worse than Bumblebee Movie Sunstreaker, a figure that I actually like, but any charm that guy had is completely lost here. Every inch of this thing makes me want to violently expel all my internal organs so I have more space in my body to fill with hate for this piece of shit. How does anyone see this as anything other than a crime against their eyes and good taste? I legitimately don't even know where to start because every part I look at fills me with enough bile to overload a sewage plant. Let's just begin with the most inconsequential thing and work our way up in terms of my rage. So she has a backpack, and it can do this. I don't know why. They thought it was a good investment of their time and a good idea to put an extra joint that makes it so that way you were able to shorten her still too long backpack by like 1 centimeter through the method of extending the figure's weight further back, unbalancing it a smidge more, and honestly just making it look even worse. But they sure gave it to you. There is such an extreme lack of effort going into this figure, and they chose to waste any amount of it on something this inconsequential rather than any actual part that needed it. Back around to the front, rather than paint both sides of her turbines, which are, by the way, probably about a third as big as they should be, they painted one side and then put a joint on it that lets you flip it around. I do not know if this is lazier or dumber, but what I do know is that it pisses me off immensely. Then you have her shoulder pads, which are a separate component from her arm, and there is literally no reason for them to have done that with this figure, as it does not aid the articulation or the transformation in any way. On top of that, they've included a tab in the shoulder itself that is meant to limit the arm's range. If this wasn't here, as far as I can tell, the arm would have more mobility in the shoulder pad. Why would you do this? Why? The only explanation I have is that there is some evil god that will awaken if Hasbro ever gives the community too much articulation in one toy line. I'm going to cut off this tab live on camera, and we will see if it in fact gives me more range in the arms. Then we have the hideous Go-Go Boots of Doom. Her shoes are bigger than her torso. For real, can we just talk for a second about what an aesthetic sin this whole figure is? Gigantic, ugly shoes with weird-looking opals in the diamond-shaped knees, teeny tiny wings with teeny tiny turbines, a huge backpack that looks like she stole Windcharger's trunk section and is in the way of any flight stand you may want to use, hideous, over-tall feet with blades hanging off the heels, the general proportions of a 6-year-old, and an actual baby's head. Whenever I say that, people invariably respond, "What do you mean by that?" I mean, it has a baby's head. What do you mean? What do I mean by that? I mean, literally, this figure looks like it ripped off the head of a human infant and slapped that on its shoulders, then painted itself up like a doll that when you see it in an abandoned house, you leave. That is a haunted fucking doll, and this is a haunting fucking face. This is just the sister figure of Bumblebee Movie Sunstreaker. That thing looked like it had ruptured blisters all over its face. This looks like it's going to slit my throat while I'm asleep. So it's fair to say that this figure is overall about as ugly as a freshly grave-robbed corpse that was thrown into the sun about 3 days ago and has truly begun the festering period. It looks like an authentic figure, and it's barely of higher quality. Seriously, the turbines are such a slap in the face. When the rest of the figure is this unimpressive, did you really need to save on that paint? As for accessories, I lost them, because I don't give a shit about this thing. It was her sword. It was worse than normal because they wanted it to double as her jet mode exhaust, which didn't even make sense because she has 2 exhaust ports, not just one, and making it look like the exhaust made it look a lot worse as a sword. So high five, guy who came up with this idea. Now please, don't ever come up with another one. Leave that beautiful little head of yours as vacant as the day you devised this one. Articulation is bad. Head has more down than normal, which is weird. Perhaps a smidge more up, a non-zero amount of side to side, but pretty close to a 0, and a full rotation. A good bit worse than 90 shoulders, a reasonable amount worse than 90 elbows, wrist swib, legs are unimpeded in all directions, normal 90 knees, and feet with a decent pivot and toe down. So this is like a 4 out of 10 here. The legs are completely normal, the head is perhaps slightly above the average, but the arms are well below it. I legitimately don't understand where this figure's budget went, because let me tell you, it was not the transformation. If you can convert this thing without popping off the backpack by accident, then its legs do like one interesting and different thing, and then the rest of this is just the typical bad Lady Seeker transformation that Windblade has been saddled with since her inception. With one exception. Instead of doing the normal thing, where her head should flip down into her chest, where, let's be real, it had plenty of space to store, that's not like a boob joke or anything. Instead, her backpack cockpit is abnormally bulky so it can just go around her head, which results in one of the ugliest jet modes I've ever seen. Also, it was at this moment that I realized that those tabs on her shoulders are preventing me from transforming the alt mode properly, as the shoulder pads are clearly supposed to rest here, but can't. Perhaps meaning that these are meant to be transformation tabs that are toleranced horribly wrong. Anyways, this wiener dog of a jet mode suffers from the classic seeker disease where it's just a robot who has a backpack that is a jet, and I just feel like at this point we have to be able to do better than this. But this is also as much of a visual car crash as the robot mode. That is a jet that only a mother could love, and this thing has no mother. Do I really need to explain why this thing gets my goat? Who in their right minds looked at this mosquito of a jet mode and thought to themselves, yeah, this looks cool. Maybe if you moved up the wings a little bit so it's not miles of big ugly fuselage followed by a sickly pair of aerofoils, then this wouldn't look like a badly taxidermied Cyclonus. From behind, this looks more like Depth Charge than it does Windblade from the front. Also, this thing doesn't hold together at all. Bump the wings and they will change position on you faster than a politician who just won their election. And don't set it down too hard unless you want to break its stupid overlong neck. The tail fins are also too easy to nudge in the wrong directions. And look, I feel nothing but disgust when I make the mistake of not gouging out my own eyes while this thing is outside the paper bag I put it in. This is just a savagely hideous alt mode, and the toy overall seems like something that would beg you to kill it if it could speak. It is a forlornly ugly robot mode that seems like it was made just out of the designer's own cruelty, whether that be to us or to the figure itself so it could suffer. It cheaps out in insulting ways and chooses horrible decisions that just makes it clear this was something that had its budget slashed on so we could get, I don't know, a bad Rescue Bots chase? Get a repack of Thundertron? What is even happening with this wave? Where is the budget going? Is this just a psyop meant to make us lower our standards so Hasbro can get away with selling us crappier, cheaper figures? The accessory takes what would have been fine and it ruins it with a bad idea. The articulation is substandard, and if it weren't, it'd just be extremely boring. The transformation is not only half-baked, but ancient and half-baked. This is the half-assed transformation this type of figure has gotten since before 2010. It has been so long, so much has improved, and they are still putting out this same tired garbage conversion that was never good in the first place. It is a boring, brief process that you have seen before 100 times, and the only reason you'd want to go through it is to hide that robot mode. But unfortunately, that means that you have to look at this alt mode. There is just no winning with this thing. There is not a single aspect of this figure that is good. The robot mode is a 1 out of 10 on looks, a 3 out of 10 on accessories, 4 on articulation, 3 on transformation, and a 1 on alt mode. An absolutely rancid turd. Why can't they please just put some goddamn effort into a fembot? And more importantly, why can't they just put some effort into Windblade? Imagine if Bumblebee consistently got the worst figures you've ever handled. This character has never had a good toy, and she deserves one. Avoid this thing like the plague. Now before we go, let's thank a patron. And this time it's Sai-Chen, whose favorite figure ever is G1 Cosmos. And I don't think I can argue with a classic little mini-bot like Cosmos. I mean, what's this? A G1 toy that doesn't require parts forming, just makes for a great little pocket or desk toy, and is a wumbly little dude with a fun and silly alt mode? What's not to love? Also before we go, it's time for the monthly shoutouts. If you'd like a shoutout yourself, please just follow the instructions on your screens. Television, or the Threelavision to his friends, makes stop motions on YouTube. His next planned project is on a Menasor combination sequence, and he plays with his camera more than I've seen most stop motioners tend to. Stelarus Prime is making custom transformers and backdrops for them, as well as doing reviews for figures. He's also selling his custom figures on his own website, so if you like the look of any of them, you can have them for yourself. Just go to Customs BYSP. Deltron is writing tech stories on YouTube about Mecha and My Hero Academia, as well as Pacific Rim. Alcohol and Anime Night is back, and he would like you to check out his review of Magical Girl Starscream by Iron Factory. If you like anime and Transformers, check out his channel, and aid him in his struggles against the Eldritch algorithm. TroosterTube is still making Transformers videos, and he would like you to vote on what mode he should start in during his reviews. Give his channel a look, and help him decide with his community post. Austin is currently trying to fix Power Core combiners by using 3D printed limbs, and he wants you all to have a look. He didn't give me a link to where you can download these, but maybe they aren't ready, so I'll keep you posted. Grunt wants you to know that he's making stop motions and really bad shit posts. Average Transformers Collector is making reviews of figures trying to focus on KOs, and he puts out one just about once every week, if not twice. He's also one of the people I've convinced to watch Beast Wars, and he does not regret it, so you should too. Transformers Buggie is back. Is it Buggie or Budgie? Look at his photography, enjoy, reviews, experience, TikToks. AJ Animations is almost at 300 subscribers. He makes, you guessed it, stop motions. Let's help give him that little push he needs to get over the 300 mark. An anonymous individual wants me to shout out Soundtracks, a father and son YouTube channel making complex and long stop motions, as well as posting photography to Instagram. Thanks for bringing them to my attention, and I do hope we can help them out. The same anonymous individual wants me to check out Orion Paxus, who makes customs based on the Bavers, and he made a really cool Tarn out of the Studio Series Shockwave. Thanks for bringing this to my attention too. The same anonymous individual sent me 3 separate emails in a row, and they would like us to look at, as a group, Ataywastaken. I swear I recognize that name. They make customs too. I will also check them out, man. Thanks for the recommendations, and no, I was not annoyed. Kelvin Ghost wants you to check out Bread Boys. They're the guys who apparently do the Crusader memes, so yeah, give this, 2 million subscriber YouTuber a watch. They totally need my help. Illusion6 just made a new YouTube channel, where they make AMVs. Check out their first video on Ultraman. He also plans on several things, one of which is to make reviews. Our anonymous friend is back again, and this time he wants you to check out Rubeedude Turquoise. They make fan art of several series, mostly Transformers and Steven Universe, as well as customs. Check them out. Howza the Lego Guy is making tutorials on how to make stop motions, as well as reviews of Transformers, Godzilla, and Lego. Currently, he's working on a big stop motion called Transformers: Shattered Reality Operation Time Split, so give him a watch. Seed Gaming wants me to shout out his friend, Katastrophy, who he describes as uploading at his own pace. Not everyone needs my grueling schedule. Anyways, check him out for solid Transformers reviews. Chase Productions is starting out on YouTube. He is yet another one of the stop-motion animators, but he worked very hard for the last 3 months on his first video that he hopes you'll check out and grow his channel. He also hopes that you enjoy it. He aims to deliver you what he hopes is high-quality animation. Give him a sub if you can. So Chase Productions wrote all that for me, but now I'm writing this myself. I watched the animation he's talking about, and it wasn't just incredibly good for a first attempt, it was just good. Congratulations to Goober for graduating high school. Good work, man. Hopefully you will be quickly on to bigger and better things, and I'm glad to have been able to make your high school years just a little bit brighter. Protagonist Prime mostly makes Digibashes, but he would also like you to take a look at his really impressive Starsaver cosplay he is currently making. Great work, dude. That's way better than any costume I've ever made. DJazz is making stop motions. They haunt me so. They are pretty great too. One I watched was about all the ways that Soundwave knows how to kill someone. Kaos Maker is going to start Transformers reviews over the summer, and he plans on comparing and contrasting live action figures to their G1 counterparts. Check him out for that. Steve Placeholder wants you to check out his Starscream fan art if Starscream had the proportions of the Prime version, and honestly that works pretty well. Great work, man. Happy birthday to Rubber Eater on June 8th. It's less than a week away, and I just wish you all the best, man. Thank you for enjoying my stuff, and it is always nice to see you in the comments. Lastly, Austin is back, and he told me that Bots Obsession just had their car door snap off, so they could use a cheer up right about now. Give his Transformers review channel a look-see, and it may not be much, but maybe it'll make his week suck a little less. And that's not half of what I have to say, but it's enough of what I have to say. And I know, you know, what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So, if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.